The title of my research proposal is Facilitating Trait Change with Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. I chose this topic because I recently took a personality test that revealed some not so desirable traits. So naturally, I wanted to find out if I could change those traits and how to go about doing so. In talking to various people over the years and in different walks of their life, I've realized that this isn't something that's just unique to me, that most everybody seeks to change some part of their personality. So that's the problem, really in its simplest form, is that people are generally dissatisfied with some aspect of their personality. So the purpose of this study is to explore if a personality can be changed because one desires to do so, and how that change can occur. The literature review showed that one can change their personality out of desire through avenues such as counseling or just simply making a decision to change some aspect of their life. More often than not, though, personality trait change comes about by just a necessary adaptation to life. There was not a lot of research I could find on CBT and how it affects personality traits, but overall the research or the literature review did find that trait changes can occur simply because one desires to do so. So that leads me to my methods. The participants in my study will be counseling students who are not in their final year and who go into a campus counseling department seeking counseling initially to change some aspect of their personality. The materials that are going to be used are the Big Five Inventory, which is a 44-item test that measures the 5 big personality traits. This test will be given before treatment begins, immediately following treatment, and then again a year after the first test was taken. Treatment will be 16 weeks. So basically the way it'll work, clients will come in, express that their intake interview, if you will, that they, I said clients, I mean students, that they, they'll express that they wish to seek counseling because they want to try and change some aspect of their personality, are dissatisfied with the way they are, that sort of thing. They will then be made aware of the study and asked if they want to participate. If they decide to do so, they will be randomly, systematically assigned to 2 different groups, one group being CBT, and then the other group who will receive just some other type of counseling. The target sample will be 30. And of course, participants will not be gathered all at one time because you're not going to get 30 people all at the same time, the same day, who decide they want to change some aspect of their personality. So that could definitely be a limitation to the study. The BFI and the Big Five Inventory, it is composed of 44 statements, and the participant will be asked to rate from 1 to 5 how strongly they agree or disagree with that statement. In counseling, they will discuss the results of their BFI, how they want to go about changing specific personality traits and that sort of thing. The counseling, as I said, will be 16 weeks, and that is because the average time for CBT counseling is 16 weeks. So, we need some kind of baseline, and obviously to go with the CBT counseling baseline would make sense in this study. So the specific changes will be noted. The scores on the BFI will be analyzed using SPSS, and actually when the BFI is requested from Berkeley University, they send along instructions on exactly how to score each area of the test using SPSS. The data will be analyzed using a mixed methods technique. Qualitatively, there will be an analysis of narratives. And like I said, each participant will be given the opportunity to discuss the results of their BFI after taking the test. So that analysis of narratives will be used to determine if the participants themselves thought the aspects of the personality changed, and especially at that year mark, whether or not that change was a lasting change. And I think that'll be a really good indicator of whether or not CBT is indeed a good avenue to take to facilitate personality change. Now on a quantitative level, inferential statistics will of course be used. And both within groups and between groups, ANOVA will be used within groups really just to determine the level of trait change as shown by each participant's score on the BFI. And then the between groups ANOVA will be used to determine the significance of CBT counseling versus other types of counseling. And along with that, the independent variable will be the type of counseling a participant receives. Is it CBT or is it the other? And then the dependent variable is the extent that personality change actually occurred. I hope to be able to reject the null hypothesis. I hope to be able to find that CBT can lead to personality change. It's only a 16-week therapy, so one would have to be very, very driven, I think. And that's also kind of shown by the literature review as well. But I'm drawn to CBT, so I would love to know that this works for a long-term change. Now, there are some limitations, of course, to this study. Sample size, like I talked about, is one. Because counseling is voluntary, participants can drop out at any time. They may not be able to complete 16 consecutive counseling sessions. I would like for the sessions to be 1 week. So that can kind of lead to some skewed results. And then this study is not incredibly specific. The categories are CBT, counseling, and other. So in the future, those other categories could be further broken down and explored. And also, we're not exploring specific traits. We're not looking at narcissism, for example, to be changed, or assertiveness, for example, to be changed. We're just kind of looking at whatever one wants to change. So those are definitely some limitations to the study. I think the study could be very significant. CBT is a fairly short-term therapy as compared to psychoanalysis, for example. And if one can really get the results they're looking for using CBT in just 16 weeks, that could be very cost-effective. It could give quick results. A lot of times if somebody's not seeing the results they want, they may quit counseling, or that can lead to some other emotional and mental issues. CBT is very goal-driven. It has, its specific guidelines in place. So I think definitely this study could really help in the field of counseling